Hi, my name's Leo and I'm a boat builder and a sailor. A few years ago I bought a very old and quite famous wooden sailing boat for the price of $1. And since then I've rebuilt that boat from the keel up with the help of a lot of amazing people. Right now we're actually using the boat and we're in the middle of a cruise around Vancouver Island and Haida Gwaii. But this video, being our 200th episode, is a little bit different and a little bit special. We're going to do a tour of the boat. We're going to catch up with what's working, what's not working, what it's like to live on the boat, why we don't wear shoes, and a bunch of other stuff. Right now, as you can probably tell, we are actually under sail, and we're going to go up on deck and see what's going on up there first of all. On our way, we're going to have a look, see who's on watch, and I've written up here the watch rota for today. So right now we've got 6 people on board, which is more than we've had for most of the trip. But it does mean that we can actually do 3 watches of 2 people, which is pretty nice because you get quite a lot of time off watch. Now if we were on a longer passage, we'd be doing 4-hour watches, but because we're just on a short day sail today, about 80 miles, so not that short, but short enough for one day, we're doing 2-hour watches. And so the list up here shows who's on watch at what times. And then we've got this ship's clock, which rings out a bell every 30 minutes. And it's actually based on the 4-hour watch system. So at 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 8 o'clock, which is when the watches normally change if you're doing 4 hours, it rings out 8 bells. And that signifies the change of watch. And then from then, every half an hour, it rings 1 more bell. So at 12:30 or 4:30, 8, it'll just ring 1 bell. And then it'll go to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 every half an hour, and then when it's at 8 bells, you know it's the time for the next watch to come on. So that's a really traditional thing which has been on ships for centuries, and it's kind of cool to observe that and use it when we're doing our 4-hour watches. So right now I can see that Patrick and Amber are on watch, so let's go up on deck and see how they're doing. Well, Paddy and Amber are on watch, and they found the best seats in the house, sitting on top of the inflatable Zodiac dinghy there. And they're keeping an eye on sail trim, traffic, keeping an eye on the chart, weather conditions, and the autopilot is steering the boat to the course that they've set. And we're just sailing downwind. Pretty great day of sailing. Today we're doing about 7 knots in about 15 knots of wind. We've got 3 headsails up and our main, no topsails. This is it. I mean, it's not always like this by any means, but this is a good day of sailing and a nice watch for these guys. Obviously we're sailing right now, but I'm going to show you around the boat a bit, starting in the saloon here. Our liquor locker is working exceptionally well, and it's pretty well stocked with some of my favourite drinks. And we've got these cool stacking glasses, and they go up in this nice little holder that Patrick made. So we do enjoy making a drink every now and then. All the lockers have these little tabs on to make sure they can't fly open when we're at sea, because it can get pretty rough obviously. This is where we keep our anchor light. This is where we keep our imitation Pancho. Not as good as the real thing, but reminds us of her. Saloon table is great. We have not yet put this down and made this into a berth, a double berth, which is possible, but we've never needed to do it so far. These fiddles we've been using a lot, but we made a place to store them up here, which is kind of neat. It's just a lashing up against the deckhead, but it's a nice way to keep them safe. Got our bookshelf, our wood burner, which we've only used a couple of times on this trip. It's very cozy when it's on. And this is a little stool that we use to support the heel of the bowsprit when the bowsprit is shipped, and just a nice stool for sitting on deck or doing work with. That lives just there. And that brings me around to the galley. Now the galley, in fact this whole interior layout, I have to say I'm really, really pleased with. Just using the boat every day and having, you know, up to 6 people living on here, I found the layout is really functional, really pleasing, really practical. The galley works really well. If we were going to do a long ocean passage and be at sea for a week or 2 weeks, I would probably rig up something like a strap so you can be in the galley and be kind of held in place. But we've been cooking at sea a lot and it's really not been a problem. You can generally keep yourself pretty steady, and there's various things to hold on to. The gimbaling oven works great. We've been using the oven every day, baking things in there and cooking on the top, of course. We've got this fairly ridiculous toaster here, which I imported from the UK. It's a 230 volt AC toaster, but actually when you got 4, 5, 6 people, it's really useful to be able to make 6 pieces of toast, and we've got plenty of electricity, so why not? Fridge freezer is all working great. A lot of cleaning required with this style of fridge, but that's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. It is pretty efficient. Sink, faucet, everything over there is working really well. One exciting thing to show you guys, which has not been shown before, is this very important bench, the centerpiece of the saloon in a way. And the importance of this bench comes from its function. Not only is it a very comfortable bench, voila, but inside the bench is the snack supply. And of course, life on a sailing boat revolves around the snack supply. So I've got some good hobnobs in there, my British friends will be pleased to hear, and various other nuts and biscuits and crackers and that sort of thing. And you'll notice the Albert Strange motif that we kind of designed from the cove line cut into the front panel here. So this bench is really nice, it's really secure, it's bolted down to the sole. And right now we're actually going to go back in time and see how Nick made this bench shortly after we launched Tally-Ho in Port Townsend. So I'm building a bench. The design idea, it's kind of a famous piece of furniture called a 6-board chest, which essentially you have your 6 boards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a lid is the 6th. So we're just kind of modifying that a little bit to work on Tally-Ho. So the way that it works is there's a bottom piece that's run into a groove, and then behind or through that groove is also mortise and tenon. So the bottom actually extends through the sides, and that just adds a lot of like racking resistance, makes it very strong. And then these side panels are just screwed in place. And for those of you that are woodworkers, you may notice that the grain in this is running long ways this way, and the grain in this is running this way. So we're using, when you fasten this, you use like small diameter fasteners, and we're using bronze, which bends easily. So if this does expand and contract, which it will,
the fasteners inside will actually bend. So it should be fine. But I guess we'll see. We're also going to have a lid to sit on. And then on the side of the carcass, we'll have a little leaf, so like a little side chair that will be able to hinge up and kind of lock into place like this. So when we're at the galley and we have just a ton of people on the boat, everyone should be able to find a seat.
Pretty sturdy.
Prove to me that it... Oh, wow.
When we're having a big party.
Oh my god. Yep, somewhere to sit.
Well, it's really cool to see Nick's beautiful woodwork making this bench. And in case you're wondering, it is made out of cherry, which is the same as a lot of our cabinetry. But we decided to oil this rather than varnish it, so that's why it looks a little bit different. It's also got this leaf on the end here. The purpose of this is to fit more people around the table. There's a leaf for the actual table part as well, which has been made. George did a really nice job with that, but we haven't actually figured out how to attach it to the table yet in a way that's simple and easy to take it on and off. So we ended up not bringing the leaf with us on this trip. So any clever ideas for how to fasten a leaf, let us know. Now it's just past 4 o'clock, which means it's my watch, so I'd better get on deck and apologise for being a little bit late. So I just came up on watch and everyone is out here already watching whales, because it turns out we're pretty much right in the middle of a large pod of humpbacks, I think.
There's the hump.
There it is.
Wow.
And then
Yeah, look at these ones. Yeah, that's the one too.
Oh,
Wow.
boom, there it goes.
Right now, you think they're hunting a baby?
Woo.
So we must have just seen about 40 or 50 humpback whales. Pretty amazing. I don't think I've ever seen so many in one go. The wind though has been steadily dying down a little bit, so I think it's time to hoist another sail. We're going to put the topsail up. But before we do that, I've had a lot of questions about why we haven't been wearing shoes on deck, and thought it'd be interesting to see what the crew say about that.
Well, shoes are bad for you. Very bad for your health. And you should wear them when there's a good reason to wear them.
I wear shoes on deck when my feet get cold, but I wear special shoes that I don't ever wear off the boat so they don't pick up all the little rocks, because I feel like that's what you don't want on the deck, to scratch the wood decks.
I think all of us wear shoes when our feet get cold, but I don't know, it doesn't seem like feet get cold as often on a boat, and it's warm down below. You're often just going up and down on a night watch maybe, or if it's really cold. Of course we wear boots or shoes. If you wear shoes, they get wet. and then you have to dry them off, and there's only so many places you can put shoes to dry in the boat, and your feet, if they get wet, they just dry off themselves. Is that a good argument?
Yeah, definitely. I like
think
that
so.
one. Yeah.
I mean, it's just the skin. Your feet on the wet deck is the best grip
It's very
It
grippy.
for
really
navigating the deck.
Very grippy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah.
And it's very tactile. You can feel what you're walking on.
Yeah.
And your
Yeah.
balance, you can like wrap your foot around things.
Yeah.
And you
feel
don't
like
trip
it-
over
Balance.
things, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like it sort of naturally enhances your awareness of where you're
Yes.
stepping too. Like some people might think like, oh, it seems dangerous because you'll kick stuff and you can break a toe or something. But really, I feel like you're less likely to trip because you like have no choice but to pay attention to where you're stepping.
Yeah. And it's traditional,
Very
I guess.
It's
Nice.
like
I like
it's like
that.
prehistoric traditional.
Yes, very traditional.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Right, well now we've got that sorted out. Should we get the topsail up?
Yeah. That's how you do it, folks. That's how you do it.
So the jackyard topsail is up and flying beautifully, and although the wind has eased a little bit, we're still sailing along really well. I'm off watch again now, and on deck the guys are keeping busy by doing some whippings, which is when you use a thin bit of twine to wrap and stitch the end of a rope or a line to stop it throwing apart, and there's quite a few whippings that we need to do on various lines around our rig, so it's a nice way to keep busy on watch. Now for the next part of our tour down below, we're going to go aft, and we're going to look in the aft cabin and the pilot berth and into the engine room, where I've got a couple of jobs to do on the systems in there. So on our way aft, this is the wet locker where we store our wet weather gear and life jackets, and I'm really pleased with these copper heating loops that we put around the boat in the hydronic system. When the heater or the engine is on, these get really hot and keep everything in here nice and warm and dry. That's really excellent. Also, we keep our life jackets back here, and actually I do want to just say a big thank you to Spinlock, who provided us with these really great deck vest life jackets. I'm not just saying that, they were my first choice, they are the best, and I'm really grateful that they helped us out. And that's what you'll see us wearing. Next we're going to go into the aft cabin. So the aft cabin is performing very well as a space. I really enjoy sleeping in here. The bunk is very comfortable. The only thing we've been finding in here is that it does get a bit hot. There are 3 port lights that let air and some really nice natural light in, but even so it does get a little hot in here. So I think one future plan is to add a little electric fan to ventilate and blow cool air in from one of the port lights there. The engine noise is pretty loud when it's on, which was expected. It doesn't actually bother me at all. Heater works great. Basin in the corner works great. Yeah. Aft cabin. On the way into the engine room, this is Patrick's berth, or the pilot berth. So this is where Patrick has been sleeping at the moment. Quite a comfortable berth by all accounts. So here in the engine room, there's a couple of things to point out and questions that people have had. A lot of people have been asking about our hybrid system and how much we've been using it. We've used the electric propulsion quite a bit, generally just when we're sailing and just going a short distance after dropping sails into an anchorage or onto a dock or something like that. We haven't been using it for hours at a time because generally we just use the main diesel engine for that because it has the benefit that it also charges our batteries. We've been charging our batteries often, of course, every day or two, and most days we do a little bit of motoring anyway, and so our batteries just remain charged. But if we are spending a few days in an anchorage, we do sometimes have to turn the engine on as a generator and just run it for a couple of hours, not very long really. Also in the engine room, of course, is the water maker. This has been working really well. We've been using it all the time. Pretty much all the systems in here are working great. Diesel filters obviously over here, the hydronic heating behind me, which I've already said we've been using a lot and is working really well. And that's about it. Our toolboxes are great. This is our fire extinguisher, which is linked to a system that automatically shuts down the engine and closes off the vents. Actually, something interesting did happen with this just today. We tried to start the engine earlier and it wouldn't start. And it was pretty confusing because it seemed like it was getting diesel. So eventually we figured out that there was an error. Well, the error was that one of these plugs had come loose, one of these wires on the extinguisher. And that is connected to the Fireboy system, which is an automatic system which can shut off the engine when there's a fire. And so because it had an error, it wouldn't let us start the engine, which seems kind of crazy, but it's good to know. That's and now I can figure out how to bypass it if we need to do that again. Not much else in here, so I'm going to run the water maker. I'm going to turn the valve. I'm going to turn the pump on, make sure this is on test. And then I'm going to close the pressure relief valve. And now the pressure's coming up and it's actually now converting seawater into fresh drinking water through a process of reverse osmosis at a very high pressure. So it's going on a test function right now, so I have to go back into the galley and test the water, make sure it's good, and then I'll switch this valve to put it into the water tanks. So this little copper pipe here is our water maker test pipe, so that's the only function of this, is just to run the output of the water maker before it goes into the tanks so we can test it. So I'm going to put some of this water in this cup. While we're here, I'll point out this other copper pipe. This is the foot pump, so that pumps water from the water tanks without using electric pumps, so that's just a way for us to get fresh water if the pumps fail or if we run out of electricity. But also we do use it quite a bit if we don't want the pump to run for any reason or we just want a little bit of water. It's pretty convenient. And there's also a filter on this pipe. It's a Aquastar filter which was given to us. Very grateful for that. And you can bypass it or leave it on. But when it's on, we can get filtered drinking water out of here and it just tastes a little bit better. This little device measures the salinity of the water, and as long as it's under 500 parts per million, it's safe. If it's under 200, it's really good. Right now it's reading 195, so it's really good and we can put it into the tanks. Bob, what time is it and what's going on?
It's just about 8 o'clock. It's the end of my watch. I'm getting a little dinner. We've got a big tray of noodles and cheese and a big pot of delicious chicken soup. They go great together.
For any Europeans, noodles translates as pasta.
Pasta noodles. What do you guys call soup?
What, are you talking about soup?
Bird water?
We are cruising 5 knots in a light breeze, and it's peaceful and beautiful sunset and lots of whales. It's very nice.
So the sun has just set, the watch has just changed. I'm going to turn on our running lights, and it's kind of dinner time, so you can see Bob's got some food here, we've got some soup, and we'll just conclude the tour by looking up forward, even though it's a little bit of a mess in the Forepeak, but we've got the head here. The head is very hard to capture on camera because it is a pretty small space and you need a really wide angle lens. But actually for a boat head, it's pretty roomy and it's been very functional and has worked perfectly. I have no complaints or improvements to make in here, I don't think. The shower works great. The heating loop under these towels is great. Nothing to complain about. So let's continue forward. Because we've got 6 people on board right now, we've got 3 people living up here. So it's a bit of a squeeze, but they all seem to be managing just fine. Amber is in the top bunk and has got plenty of room up there because it's a really big bunk. It's kind of a double technically. Maya is in the bottom bunk. I think she's actually trying to sleep right now behind this curtain. And then Bob has been using the pipe cot, which is a pretty new addition. And you can see we kind of just rigged this up fairly recently, but when it's down, it's a pretty comfortable berth. The Forepeak in general is sort of the wild west of the interior of the boat. It's the one area that hasn't quite been organized properly. We don't quite know where everything goes and it's a little chaotic, and that tends to be the way with Forepeaks. Up here right now we've got sails, we've got lines, we've got tools. It's not quite as secure or as organized as I would like, but we are working on it and things are gradually finding their place and getting hooks and lashings and things to make them more secure. And we've got this very nice orange hat which says tally ho on it and it's sometimes worn but also serves the important function of preventing you from banging your head on the capstan gearbox, which is right here. So Forepeak, we've also got this very nice ladder for getting in and out the forward hatch. We've also got these nice curtains on all the bunks, which Maya made. Maya, who is sleeping in the bottom bunk right now, who also did all our upholstery and the leather work, and is probably not having a very fun time sleeping now with me blabbering on, so we'll get out of here.
About 4 knots of wind. We're going about 2 knots.
I'm not happy about this.
So Patty, what's going on? Nice and loud.
We're starting the engine
Why?
because it's too slow.
We sailed pretty much the whole way here.
Yeah.
Just the last 10 or 12 miles.
All right, hit it.
All right.
Yeah. If you want.
Do you see the ropes he's talking about that go into the water?
I think, yeah. That's it there.
Cool.
Yeah. You got 3-0 to dock from the bowsprit. Thanks ahead.
What do you want first?
Oh, please.
What's our distance ahead, Patrick?
15 feet.
Alright, so we made it to our destination, and it's been a great day of sailing. Lots of whales, good wind, jackyard topsail. Couldn't have been much better, really, so I'm glad we chose today to shoot this video, and hope some of the tour was interesting. Now, this video is a little removed from our actual trip around Vancouver Island and Haida Gwaii, which we'll be getting back to in the next one when we arrive in the magical islands of Haida Gwaii and explore there. But for now, we're all pretty tired. We're going to have a quick drink and then get our heads down after a long day of sailing. So, thanks a lot for watching, and a massive thank you to everyone who has donated or otherwise supported this project. It does make a huge difference. It means we're able to carry on doing this work, it means we're able to keep on making these videos, and it means we're able to keep on sailing this boat. So I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.
Hey.
Good passage today.
Cheersies.
Great work.
Cheersies.
Sailing.
Good sailing.
Oh, yeah.
that's
Oh, what a nice day.